So welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 6 between Spinal Tap and the Killer Pikachus. This is week 3 action for you. Coming up later tonight, we'll have Team Evolution versus Team Payback, also from week 3, and then we'll get into some week 4 action over the weekend. So please stay tuned for that. There will be updates on my Twitter. I'm at MarisTematicSC. And without further ado, let's introduce our players. Spawning up here in the upper left-hand position of NASL Season 3, Shakur's Plateau. In the teal color, he's playing for Team Spinal Tap. It is TK.voiD. And spawning across from him in the yellow color, playing Terran with the Killer Pikachus, it is void. And NASL Season 3, Shakur's Plateau. I don't know why I have to include this Season 3, but there aren't a whole lot of difference. The trees are a little bit more shrubby for some reason on the NASL version, I've noticed. But other than that, the only real difference is the neutral supply depot. Very similar to the version, you can't spawn, for example, for TK.voiD, his opponent cannot spawn down here close to the ground. So we do have the close by air spawns. And that can create some interesting dynamics, I guess, in terms of drop play for Terran. Banshee's very good as well. And we see Void having his worker harass a little bit. We see no gas. This will probably be a max fast expand. You can say that almost before the game starts for most Terrans now, which is kind of sad, kind of not sad. But Hobo, meanwhile, still without a gas geyser himself, already at 16 supply. This might be, a one-gate gasless expand doesn't really exist for Protoss. Okay, there it is. There's the gas geyser. But a one-gate expand is a very standard build. Regardless, he's already hidden a pylon over here, so there may be some early pressure coming on from TK.voiD. Void, meanwhile, throwing down his orbital command, typing something in the alt chat, even though I'm not entirely sure what that's in response to. Second gas on the way from TK.voiD. This could be a nice one-base build. It could also be just to get it for now and then throw down the Nexus. Void, meanwhile, throwing down his second command center, sending his first Marine across the map to scout. And he'll take control of this northern Zelnaga watchtower. SCV is still in a good position to scout for him. Score now up for TK.voiD and starts the war immediately. He'll throw down some. So looking very standard, but TK.voiD focused on his one-base play. Occasionally you will see Gate Robo. Yeah, Gate Robo expand. This matchup, PvD. This isn't quite Protoss, so you're not going to see Gate Robo Gate. But he might be stuck in a PvP mindset and just do it anyway. We'll see Void falling. Going up to 2, there's finally a third one. So he is going up to those 3 barracks after the 1, and everything looking like the most normal thing in the world. Zealot chasing down a Marine is not going to be able to get him as he escapes into the barracks. A lot of hit points, but the Zealot should be able to get out of there, and now the tables have turned. Marines chasing the Zealot back across the map. They're not going to be able to catch him, as Zealots are actually pretty significantly faster than Marines. 2.25 compared to... oh, they're the same speed. So they'll never catch him, regardless. We do see the Nexus thrown down by TK.voiD. There's no other units here to defend, so I guess he could have actually just chasing. These 2 sentries would have been out to help clean up. Now, for the vision of Void, he doesn't see that naturally yet. Similarly, we don't see the nap yet in TK.voiD's view. So both players playing a little bit blind, but they probably are aware that it exists just because of the units that they've seen so far. Now the SCV pokes in, sees the Nexus, very good scouting, and he actually will keep hidden back in the back of his opponent's natural. One tech lab, so kind of a little bit more meager formation on the barracks. You will tend to see anywhere from 1 to 3 add-ons, but going 4 Tech Lab first. He's getting Stim Pack, so we would see an earlier timing from Void. Second gas finished up now. He's got Engineering Bay already. Maybe worried about a DT rush, at least initially. Now that he's seen his opponent's expansion, that Engineering Bay is not going to be too useful. He can get some early upgrades, which are always a benefit. And there he actually starts at +1. So this would be what I call kind of a standard level. We'll see both your sack and max out, and then ramp these together in the middle of the map. It might not be the middle of the map, it might be one player base or the other. But regardless, we'll see players max out at a very similar time, and then run their armies together. It has center control with the watchtower. TK.voiD now starting to get some scouting information of his own, as we'll follow the vision of the observer. He'll spot the 4th barracks. He doesn't get the 5th one quite yet. He needs to be a little bit careful. When people tend to see observers is when they're flowing over your army. Now he'll see all 5 of the barracks. I don't actually think he... Okay, so he did see the factory. So very good scouting from TK.voiD. He'll be aware of everything going on. If we look back in his base, he's got 4 gates now. Throwing down the robotics bay. He actually hasn't made anything except observers out of his robotics facility. So the Colossus is going to be the first thing. Down the Forge as well. You'll get those upgrades. We may see like a 2 Colossus or 3 Colossus timing. But beyond that, I don't think we'll actually see any aggression from either player. Void now going for a 3rd command center at 70 supply. Again, pretty standard. This pylon still hidden there, and I don't know when that would actually be seen, which is kind of interesting. So that could be a really great spot for the Zell counterattack later in the game, to warp in a couple up there and send them to their opponent's 3rd base. My voice is getting a little tired already. We still have the 8 to go. TK.voiD throwing down his 3rd Nexus, and yeah, they're maxed out and smashing armies together. The only thing really to analyze is kind of what units they'll have at that time. You see going up to 3 tech labs, 2 reactors for Void, so he'll have very production capabilities. Combat shield, concussive shell on the way, his first 2 medevacs as well, and there's the armory, so he'll be able to get his +2 upgrades before long. Could even get his ship plating, which is becoming a little bit more prominent for his medevacs, or even start on the weapons for things to try and counter Colossus. But if we look at Fate, still really playing in the dark. He had good scouting on his opponent's natural, but he hasn't been able to see the real bit of information, which is his opponent's going Colossus first, and there aren't any Templar thought of quite yet. There's no Twilight Council, and he's only working on his +1 upgrades. This pylon has finally been spotted by Fate. He'll take that out very quickly, much to the dismay of TK.voiD. Not the biggest deal. You even see Void making sure of everything, going to send his Marine around to check and see if there's another pylon up in his 4th base. So let's look at our units tab. 53 SCVs with 5th arms. 3 observers, which is actually pretty remarkable by TK.voiD. These are both mostly the spot for drops headed out across the top side of the map. He can do basically whatever he wants with them. If we look, where's the other observer? But this is nice. These cannons will, if the attack comes towards the 3rd from Void, the cannons will delay his opponent a little bit, and then you can use this ramp to actually catch your opponent back in kind of a reverse choke scenario, because there's nowhere to run once you get up here. There's no ramp back down. The way out is down this ramp. So you can catch your opponent's army up in your 3rd area if you plan something just like that. There are 3 Colossus out. He's actually not stopping Colossus production. That's done. We have a couple more gateways on the way as well. This is going to be such a heavy Colossus army. And we see there's no Vikings out. The starport still only producing medevacs. Now, adding on some more barracks, we have to a total of 8. And Planetary at the third base was kind of surprising to me. He's really supply box right now. Adding on that Ghost Academy. Again, that's really blatant. It's not going to be the most useful choice for him. We finally have the first of the game. Medevac headed out here trying to avoid all these cannons. And this is something dropping away from the site where you're actually going to fight and then stimming in. I believe this was spotted by the cannon, so these stalkers headed up to try and check and see where the drop headed, or to chase out the factory, one of the two. There's another drop ship on its way. There's so much dead space back here in the top of Shakur's Plateau. So you can have medevacs and stuff down there. Drop everything off over here, try and kill this forge. That would be a pretty nice little snag if you can get it. Try to kill some of the probes. It looks like instead this cannon's going to be the only thing they'll be able to get. This drop successfully thwarted as well. The forge goes pretty low, but not low enough to do any damage. Now here comes the counterattack from Digitalhobo. There's the Colossus now spotted, and you should know that that Ghost Academy was a mistake. This is going to be really tough to hold. He pulls the SCVs to try and repair the bunkers. There's 4 Colossus with this army, and there's no Vikings to deal with them. Nice field there from Digitalhobo, tearing apart Void's army at the bottom of the ramp, and now he can back off. He knows carved up a pretty significant chunk of the army. He can push up toward third because of those force fields. That was really well done by our Protoss player, fielding out his opponent's army like that. And those were perfect force fields. 2 sometimes isn't enough to block it off. If you kind of look at your force field, you see it's going to need 3 if you wanted to completely back that off, although that's not the case. Now he'll pull back across the map. I'm not sure he did enough damage. In comes the drop, though. Void takes out the forge. Starting to turn down the Twilight Council. I don't think he'll be able to get it. There's enough units warping in. And the drop forced to retreat by Void. Now Digitalhobo back in. He'll take down both bunkers very quickly, as well as the inhabitants. And now Digitalhobo pushing up into his opponent's natural. And Void actually kind of smartly going to sacrifice that. He doesn't have enough army to fight right now. This one Colossus getting a little bit low, but all 4 of them still alive. Finally does go down to 2 Vikings. But still 3 Colossus left. If we look, 25 workers killed now. There's only a handful of vehicles. He may be able to defend this, especially since the Colossus are kind of trapped here. But the position that the Terran player in is not enviable right now. There's still 2 Vikings here to do some damage. There's only 2 stalkers left, unfortunately, for Digitalhobo, so he's actually going to sacrifice this army, but he needs to get a little bit more damage done before he can feel really safe with that. SCVs now forced to fight Colossus. This is kind of interesting, but Void will be able to hold on eventually. Marauder's pretty good units, as it turns out. And he's popping them out 4 at a time, 5 Marines as well. But now Void will have to cut into his bag. He's taking his 4th base, which is actually really risky right now. We do see the stock reinforcement coming across from Digitalhobo. I don't know if he can end the game with this little reinforcement, just because the production is so good from Void. Doesn't look like he has quite everything hot heat, but regardless, has the 2nd starport. He has that Ghost Academy. If we look, okay, this is really smart. Sending the stock. Doesn't look like he can out DPS the Planetary Fortress, and he's actually going to get caught here. Void doing a nice job defending and keeping his hope alive in this game. He's down by a significant chunk of supply, but he's still alive, and that means he's still got a chance. 4th Command Center, I guess 4th Command Center. Command Center, the 4th base. Nearly done. He restarts the Command Center at the natural. He's taking a little bit of a hit to his production right now, which means that Digitalhobo have a will where he can attack now. But instead, Digitalhobo, 4th base finished up for him. He's adding on a bunch of gateways, a couple of pilots up here just to make sure they're powered. And he's in a really good spot. 69 probes, 34 SCVs. If we look, 30 workers have been killed by him. Our Protoss just needs to sit back. He needs to get those upgrades that he needs and get a little bit more power with his army. He does have that Templar transition got 6 Templar all gathering energy for that storm. If we look at upgrades though, 2-2 with 3-2 on the way for our Protoss, 2-2 done for our Terrans. 2-2 not quite thought of, as he's had to really focus on rebuilding units right now, and hasn't had the army to spare the money to sink in these upgrades. Now units just kind of spread out around the map for Digitalhobo. And there's the gateways finished up. That means his remax will be pretty stellar. He's making a cannon ring, something you don't see very often, but it's so valuable to have these cannons to try and deter drops and such. Zealot's headed across the map. We see Void now focusing still. He's reproducing SCVs back up to 38 now. Excuse me, there's 73 probes though. And Digitalhobo even mixing in a couple of Colossus, getting up to his money army, maxed out now, getting Gravitic Boost, which is the Observer Speed upgrade, I believe. I'm actually going to get back. Yeah, I got it. You can tell because it kind of looks like the end of the Observer, and the fatter one looks like the end of a Warp Prism. That's the only way I've got this. I couldn't tell you which one's boosters and which one's drop. Charge on the way, plus weapons nearly done for him, and he'll hit a nice win. His opponent now 140 supply. There's only a couple of Ghosts and a couple of Vikings, and he needs to hit those EMPs, otherwise the Storms are just going to rip him to shreds. We see Digitalhobo kind of splitting up his army, Stalkers and Colossus up here. Templar chilling in the middle of the map. His Zealots are down here. I believe he'll be waiting for either Chargers plus weapons. There he goes. 3 weapons will finish up right about at the time of the engagement, and he's just kind of gathering his army. We see these are his 3 hotkeys, of course, Zealots, and then this is the army. Nice scan by Void. He'll be able to see where his opponent's army is. He needs to try to get in these Ghosts in the EPO. He doesn't have Cloak. He doesn't have Mobius Reactor either. And this is going to be, I think, a pretty one-sided fight. Digitalhobo moving up. Zealots surrounding the 3rd base. Take down a lot of these SUVs. Take down the base eventually. Storms enough to force Void to retreat. And then smartly Digitalhobo pulls his army over here. He kills the 3rd base. He needs to send something up to make sure there's no 4th there. And will he get caught in the middle of the map though? Nice Storm forcing his opponent back, forcing a stim out as well. Ghosts coming in for a flank. He needs to hit those EMPs. Those are nice. There's still enough for one Storm. He gets it down on top of the Ghost. I believe there's still a Storm left, but there's the GG from Void as he moves his very hurt army in. Storm's doing enough. 4th base taken down by these Zealots back behind everything, and Void has left the game. So Spinal Tap taking a 5-1 lead as we head into the ace match. And this could be a pretty clean sweep for Spinal Tap. Really good in the standings. So please stay tuned. You're watching CTL Week 3 Cast of Maris. Don't go anywhere. We'll have the ace match coming up in just a second.